bless you. Thank you. If there are questions, comments, I am at your service.
So if there's no one who's asking a question, can I ask a question?
Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah. It implies that I have done a lot of guna, okay? So suppose I have done a lot of guna.
Yes.
And suddenly I realized it one day and I really did a lot of tawbah. I kept doing a lot of tawbah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shall I keep remembering my sins and keep doing the same tawbah, or I'm sure now that now I've been forgiven, so shall I remember my old sins, keep on remembering them, and keep on asking for forgiveness? Is that how it is?
Yes. So, although we should be hopeful, but we should not dismiss the chance that maybe there was something missing in my tawbah. Therefore, we renew our istighfar, but not out of despair, not out of doubting His mercy, but because I just want to make sure that I am definitely forgiven. Plus, humble people, they have two qualities. One is that when they receive something as a gift, as a blessing, they are always grateful. They don't say, I should thank once. If someone has done something good for you, you keep thanking them. And the other quality is that if they wrong others, so if they receive good from others, they keep thanking them. And if they wrong others, they keep apologizing. That, that time I did something wrong to you, please forgive me. Maybe after 5 years they see them, again they say, because they are very humble and they want to make sure that the other person is really happy and forgiving. So, with hope, not with despair, we keep asking for tawbah, for maghfirah, and we don't say just once is enough. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, you said earlier about that sometimes Allah takes our bad deeds and He
multiplies.
turns them into good. Can you give us how does that happen? And give us an example of what you mean by that.
Yeah. So in I think was the 7th or 8th part of the lectures on mercy, we talked about it in this way, that in my understanding, Allah has different types of maghfirah. Once is just to forgive. Another time is not only He forgives, but also He covers. Takfir as-sayyi'at. Like you put Tipex. Sometimes there is a criminal, they give him record of his deeds. Wherever he wants to be employed, they see that he did this crime, but he was forgiven. Still, he's embarrassed. And some people don't employ this person or don't marry this person. But sometimes not only he's forgiven, they put Tipex and they cover it. But still, they see that there is something here covered. They don't see what was covered, but they see something is covered. So they wonder what happened. Was there a mistake, or really he did something bad, etc.? So then we have another level which is higher. That is mahvus sayyi'at. Mahvus sayyi'at is higher than takfirus sayyi'at. It means it's totally wiped off and it's not visible. It's not covered. It's totally removed. And the highest is tabdilus sayyi'at bil hasanat. We don't remove, we don't cover, we totally change the record. We put good things. He has spent, for example, $100,000 in gambling, but it is put he spent $100,000 in charity. This is tabdil sayyat. But then for every dollar of charity also he's rewarded 10 times more or 700 times more. Even that is given. So who are the people who receive maghfirah in the general form, or takfir sayyat, or mahwu sayyat, or tabdil sayyat? My humble understanding is this, and Allah knows better, that it depends on the level of their regret, on the level of their willingness to have dignified life in dunya and akhirah. If someone is very remorseful of sinful life and he wants to be respected by others, especially awliyaullah, and he's worried that why I did this wrong, why I wasted my time, why I didn't use this opportunity to be at the level of true friends of Allah. So when this regret reaches very high, then burns the sins and transforms them into valuable good things. Because the more bad you do, after tawbah becomes the greater remorse. And whoever has the greater remorse would be rewarded more. So it's very interesting that someone who has committed 1,000 sins, after this kind of tawbah and forgiveness, will become richer than someone who has done 100 sins. You may say how it works, because this person had more difficulty in change and transformation. This person has spent more time in sinning and now has changed. So this difficulty that at the beginning was condemned. Why you go so low and so deep into bad things? That was not a good thing. But now that he wants to come out, it's appreciated. That with such a life that you had, it was not easy, but you managed to come out. So we give you more credit.
Thank you, Sheikh. There's two brothers who raised their hands.
Okay. Brother Hassan and Brother Abdullah. Yes.
Chat.
Pardon? I see.
In the chat, which has been there for some time.
Okay. So maybe Brother Hassan can mention, then Brother Abdullah, and then we go to chats.
Inshallah.
I think the chat has been answered.
Okay. Alaikum salam. Yes.
Alaikum Sheikh. Thank you so much for your time. My question to you, in the first verse of Dua al-Iftitah,
yes.
Allahumma inni aftatihu thana'a bihamdik. Is thana, is that only for God, or can we also have thana for like the Prophet or the Ahlul Bayt?
Yeah, we can have for them as well, but our understanding is that everyone is a mirror, and therefore when we see good things coming from them or in them, we know that it reflects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise them because otherwise we cannot make good connections, good use of positive points in people. But at the same time, we don't stop there. We want to reach the source. So I have to be grateful to people who are giving me something, helping me, and grateful to Allah. Man lam yashkur al-makhluq, lam yashkur al-khaliq. Also, I should be seeing beauty in people, but also know that the source of beauty is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I don't see beauty in people, I get into difficult social life. I don't know how to treat people. I don't know how to prioritize some people over other people. So I have to see good points in people, and I have to be appreciative, but I should know that whatever they have belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I use it as a reason to go closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thank you, Sheikh. So
May Allah
thana
bless.
as an attribute is not reserved for Allah only. That's what I understand.
Yes, but depending on Allah. The independent is only for Allah. For others, it's dependent.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. May Allah bless you.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
In regards to the previous question that
Yes.
you replied to in regards to sin that converts to goodness through Tawbah,
Yes.
does this also take into effect if the sin is like a sin publicly known through other, for example, Muslims, and is it if it's also converted to goodness through Tawbah, like if it's possible, and also if it's possible to be hidden from the book of misdeeds now that it's public.
Yes.
And there are also additional questions coming in to the chat. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So we should try our best not to commit sin first. Second, if na'udhu billah we get into sinning, we should do our best to keep it hidden. Sometimes people feel so bad that they want to say to people that I have done this thing or I used to do these things. They feel this, even maybe unconsciously, a way of humbling themselves and a way of, maybe somehow punishing themselves so that they are purified. But this is not good. We should not say to people what we have done in the past if we were sinning. But if it comes to knowledge of people and you are really remorseful, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would first of all make sure that this will not spread. And if you really do good, Allah helps you to correct your image in the eyes of people. But the most important thing is on the day of judgment. That is where, in front of all prophets and imams and all awliyaullah and all the martyrs, our reputation at that time is very important. And if at that time we are given cover by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the main thing. In dunya we should try to keep our cover, but if God forbid someone is already known for bad things, maybe Allah can help him to regain good reputation. There, in the course of history, there have been people that they were sinners, but they became then examples for the people who repent. Like, Bushra Hafi, he has become now a hero. So there is chance to gain your reputation in dunya, but the main concern is ala ru'us al-ashhad. Therefore we say, la tafdhahni ala ru'us al-ashhad. When all the witnesses are there on the day of judgment, that's the real worry. And therefore we can inshallah get that cover on that day from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think the question of Sister Ruqayya is already answered. Sister Firdaus, how we open our heart to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to train ourselves to be sensitive to good things, especially when we receive them. Like for example, if you want to go to historical sites, if you want, for example, to go to Rome, you need to read a little bit about history and know what significant historical sites are there from Romans' time, afterwards, during Christianity, So if you want to go to a museum, you need to be more understanding different civilizations and, different kinds of cultures they had, etc. So, when we want to open our hearts to praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to be people who are reflecting on good things, on perfection, on virtues, on good deeds, number one, and plus on what we have received. We shouldn't take for granted what we have. Unfortunately, many times we take things for granted and we only realize when we lose them. But we should train ourselves to see endless blessings that we have received. In the discussion about shukr from Hajjatul Bayda in Hawza Akhlaq series, we had very detailed discussion by Ghazali and Mullah Muhsin Faiz about different types of blessing. Just to organize them takes hours, let alone under each class, so many blessings we have received. So we need to train ourselves. We need to be more attentive to the details, to the beauty that is spread in every aspect of the world, and then part of it is extended to us, part of it to our friends, to our family, humanity, but all over the world. I just mentioned one story that I heard from one of my teachers, that there was, you must have heard, there was an alim called Elahi Qumshei. His son is now famous in Iran for giving mystical lectures, but this alim was a great philosopher, mystic, poet. One of the most known translations of the Quran and Mafatih in Farsi is by him, Elahi Qumshei. They call him Hakim Elahi Qumshei. So my teacher said that in the court of the Fayziyya, Madrasa Fayziyya, which is close, actually connected to the Sharai, he was looking at a rose flower and crying. He is a Hakim, he is a mystic, and he can acknowledge the beauty in a rose flower to the extent that he cries. He's overwhelmed with the beauty which is in this rose flower. But how many people, when they see a rose flower, are overwhelmed with the beauty there? Not many people even appreciate. So, another story I heard Imam Musa Sadr when he was teaching in South Lebanon in the school, and later in Lebanon at the beginning also he was teaching a school. Sometimes for 1 hour he was talking about flower and trying to use physics, chemistry, biology, everything, arts, to explain to students about flower and make them appreciate. So this is the way to open our hearts to praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be more attentive to the subtleties, to the details which normally are taken for granted. How many ways I am being blessed by Allah subhanahu, how many ways my family are blessed, our community is blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how many different ways we are surrounded in this world with beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you drive from one place to another place, if you see desert, if you see forest, it doesn't make difference. There is beauty for the people who can sense. Some people are happy to travel thousands of miles to go to deserts. But maybe people who live in deserts, some of them they don't appreciate. Some of them may appreciate. It's a matter of attentiveness. You are most welcome. So we end our session with quick dua faraj. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم اشف مرضانا اللهم ارحم موتانا اللهم اقض حوائجنا ببركة الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you very much for your attention, for your presence, which is result of all your hearts united that we can have this session. Inshallah, tomorrow we start again at 8 p.m. UK time. And as I said, the plan is that we will have about 10 minutes recitation of Dua Iftitah, talk, question answer, but inshallah within 1 hour. التماس الدعاء في أمان الله.
التماس الدعاء.
التماس. May Allah bless you.